Symbols can give grief a language beyond words. Me personally, my mom loves sunflowers. This is a grief symbol for me when I remember her in a very positive way. It brings the positive emotions. It helps me to remember all the good memories, the joy, and it also helps me to build the resilience that I need throughout my grieving process. Hello, and welcome to the 2025 Mental Health Awareness Month podcast series. My name is Sheresa, Elliot, licensed clinical social worker, and I am so excited to speak with you today on this very important topic of grief. In my private practice and in community mental health, I have worked with a lot of individuals who have experienced grief, and I would want to just share a little bit of that with you today. So what is grief? When you think about grief, I want you to think about some of the emotions and some of the feelings that may be associated with grief. Grief is when we experience a significant loss. Most people that experience grief, they experience feelings of sadness. They experience feelings of sorrow. They experience feelings of numbness. Complicated grief can occur and we can experience very intense and complex emotions and feelings. Some of those may look like confusion, asking questions about why grief is even happening. That can also look like isolation, feeling stuck, feeling like you're unable to move past some of the intense emotions and feelings that you may be experiencing. Grief can also be viewed as a loss of a friendship or even isolation from your social groups, activities, and the norms of your everyday life. Think of an injury, think of a loss of a job, think of financial hardships. Those are all loss. We can grieve from those experiences. Historically, when we talk about grief, we typically refer to the 5 stages of grief, which were founded by Dr. Kubler-Ross. This is a Swiss-American psychiatrist who is best known for her work on the death and dying. Those 5 stages of grief include the following. The first stage is denial. Some of us experience denial when we are in shock of an individual leaving or after losing a loved one. We then might go to the stage of anger, very intense emotions associated with the loss. We then may enter the stage of bargaining. This helps us to try to regain control and make deals of the situation or the loss that we have experienced. Sometimes we enter depression. This is where a lot of people get stuck. This stage, you may see a lot of sadness, a lot of emptiness, a lot of hopelessness as well. Finally, you may enter that stage of acceptance. Acceptance is when you're able to acknowledge the loss, you're able to move forward and experience happy, positive feelings, or you may even forgotten that the loss has happened or occurred. It's worth noting that while Kubler-Ross model is still a very relevant foundational tool to be used, it is not the final word. It's more of a gateway into understanding grief than a prescriptive roadmap. Great for starting conversations, but today's best practice includes a more personalized, culturally sensitive, and flexible model. In other words, grief is a unique path for everyone. It doesn't always unfold in a linear way and is often experienced in waves. However, there is some new and very exciting research that we've found from the Mayo Clinic that can help you to cope and deal with loss and grief in a very healthy way. New research includes arts in therapy, which is storytelling. This is what I personally use with clients in my private practice. This gives an opportunity for us to engage and create dialogues with your loved ones, revisit some circumstances that can help reduce some of the stress associated with the loss that you have experienced. Storyteller gives the griever a very structured yet creative way to revisit and reframe some of those memories. This can help you to make sense of the loss that you have experienced. This can also help you to gather and organize your thoughts and emotions. A lot of times, storytelling can also help you to preserve some of the memories and the legacies that's associated with the individual that you are grieving. Narratives typically will help you to release some emotions that you are experiencing. So, this is a safe outlet for expressing your pain, for expressing the joy, the anger, and even the love associated with the healing process. Storytelling also allows individuals to build that connection, and it can help you to reduce that isolation. Experiencing grief can cause some feelings of hopelessness, can allow you to feel very lonely. Storytelling can help you to build a community. It can help you feel seen, and it can help you to feel less alone. This is a activity that I love to use when helping my clients to identify the emotions that they are experiencing while they're healing and going through that grief process. And this can also help them create and reframe the emotions and experiences that they have associated with the loss of their loved one. Another approach that we also want to consider is symbolism. Symbolism is a way to express and utilize forms of journaling, poetry that can help you to process grief in a healthy way. Symbolism allows you to use that creative outlet to re-identify or to create what we like to call that grief symbol that can help you to remember your loved one in such a different way, in a positive way, in a way that can bring joy, feelings of happiness, and love. The red cardinal is often referred to as a sign of love. This is a symbol that a lot of people reflect on and refer to when remembering their loved one. Me personally, my mom loves sunflowers. This is a grief symbol for me when I remember her in a very positive way. It brings the positive emotions. It helps me to remember all the good memories, the joy, and it also helps me to build the resilience that I need throughout my grieving process. Symbols can help you to create words. Symbols can give grief a language beyond words. Sometimes emotions in grief can be too deep for us to identify with words. So being able to use symbols like candles or flowers or birds or animals can be a very powerful way to communicate and process those feelings. Symbols can also help maintain continuing bonds. So a lot of times we are able to bond with symbols, and that can help us to stay connected to our loved ones or to people that we have lost over time. Objects or symbols can definitely be used as a bridge, as a way to keep the griever and also keep you connected to your loved ones. So we want to continue to think about ways that we can incorporate symbolism and storytelling as we go through our healing process. These can be routine for us. It can be healthy, new, innovative ways that we can continue to cope with grief in a very healthy and positive way. Using symbolism can definitely help to empower that transformation. As grief evolves, these meanings that we have attached to symbols can also evolve and help us to grow in our healing journey. Something that I want you to take away today is to maybe start your I Remember journal. This will be a memory journal that you will start the statements of I remember. This can help you to start creating and telling your story about your loved one and memories that you have with your loved one. You'll simply write, I remember, and you will start to document memories that you have with your loved ones, emotions that you have connected to your loved ones as well. So today we define grief. We talked about some symptoms that we will see with grief. Grief can be very complex, and we can often experience a range of emotions and experiences when coping with grief. With the help of the Mayo Clinic, I've introduced some new methods, some new approaches that we can utilize, such as arts and therapy, specifically storytelling, and also the use of symbolism to help us to cope in a very healthy and positive way. If you are in need of any support, please contact your employee assistance program or your behavioral health program through your insurance provider. I'm Sheresa Elliot. Thank you so much for allowing me to share space with you today.